Alright guys, welcome to the Tenchi Muyo Q&A. I want to thank everybody who sent in questions over on Patreon, and if you guys want to be part of the next Q&A, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the second tier. That allows you access to the first two tiers of stuff, like the exclusive videos, and all the stuff on the first tier. I think I've talked a lot, the past 6 Patreon videos, I talked enough about how you can do Patreon videos, but yeah. As always, I want to thank everyone who sent in questions for this one, and yeah, we're going to be doing a Tenchi Muyo Q&A. This is, Tenchi Muyo is one of my favorite anime, and I wanted to do, for another anime Q&A, I wanted to do something, I basically wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to do something that was like, yeah, this will get people interested, because I know a lot of my followers do enjoy Tenchi Muyo, and it's an anime I feel like has been criminally underrated. Anyway, so let's get started. First set of questions coming from Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, thank you for the questions, as well as the comics, as always. First question, have you seen the Tenchi Muyo movies? I have. I have seen all of them. They used to be on YouTube. I don't know if they still are or not, but I really enjoyed the first Tenchi Muyo. The first movie is probably my favorite. I really like the villain Kane, who he's like a time being. I really like that. I also like the second movie, even though it feels like it wants to be in continuity, even though they totally ignore it, of like Tenchi's daughter, I will admit that like the one problem I have with Tenchi Muyo is that it's pretty incesty. And Daughter of Darkness is no different. Also, fun fact for all you Power Rangers fans, the villain of Tenchi Muyo, the second movie, Daughter of Darkness, that villain is the voice dub. The English voice dub for her is Barbara Goodson, who did the voice dub for Rita Repulsa. So, you know, when you hear that character, all you're going to think is, make my monster grow! So yeah. I like those movies. I enjoyed the third movie. I think, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen the third movie. Excuse me. Just drinking some tea real fast. But yeah, I would say the first movie's my favorite. It's got a lot of emotional depth. I really like, again, the villain is really cool, and the time travel's really interesting, and also Tenchi gets to see his mother, which I thought was a beautiful thing. But yeah. Second question. What was your favorite Tenchi series? Now, Tenchi Muyo has a lot of shows, so I would say, as much as I love the OVA series, I would have to say, this one, Tenchi Universe. Tenchi Universe was the first of the anime I watched. It also brought in Kione to play off of Mahoshi, and it was an original character that even the creator of Tenchi Muyo loved and wanted to add canonically. I absolutely adore the OVA. Don't get me wrong, and I have the sequel to the OVA right here. Yeah, these are the only Tenchi Muyo collections I have. I would love to get the a few others. Maybe not Tenchi in Tokyo. That one I didn't like, but yeah, the show is the Tenchi Universe was basically what everyone, when you think Tenchi Muyo, you think that series. Like you basically think that series. But I think a lot of people also, like, whether it be fanfiction or whatever, really like to merge Tenchi Universe with the original series and basically have, like, yeah, we still have the fun of, you know, Washu being Ryoko's mother, but also have Kione here, because I think Mihoshi needed a straight man to play off of. But anyway, so yeah, Tenchi Universe is my answer. Third question. Imagine a Tenchi Muyo Mass Effect crossover. I can probably imagine it. You know, the world of Tenchi Muyo really does feel like it can fit into the universe of. It can really fit into the universe of Mass Effect. The Jorians could be like a big empire and a big shot in the galaxy, and also you could probably see all the Tenchi characters because they're essentially immortal. Like, the vast majority of the Tenchi characters are immortal, so they could be in that series. Like, they could be in the Mass Effect universe. So I could easily see, like, I might do another. I did a video on this of like talking about like characters, like putting non-comic characters as a Star Trek cast. Maybe I'll do it for like what if Commander Shepard put together a team. Maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. That got me thinking. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for those questions, Chris. Moving on now to David Dicer, who asks, how would you do a Harry Potter Tenchi Muyo crossover? Yeah, I know jack shit about Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I know nothing about it. All I know is the houses. I took a test and it says I'm Hufflepuff. Yeah, I know nothing about Harry Potter. I give no shits about Harry Potter at all. So I can't. So I unfortunately can't answer this question. So yeah, sorry, man. Second question: favorite character in Tenchi Muyo? Ryoko. Well, actually, no. It teeters between Ryoko and Washu. It really does teeter, but it really depends. Like Ryoko and Washu. I know it's such a basic answer, but Ryoko and Washu are the best characters in that show. Although I would say, actually, I think I give it to Washu because like she's so morally gray, and also like she's a god. She is God. She is a god essentially, and she's kind of like Rick, but with a little more like class. Like she's kind of like Rick Sanchez, if Rick Sanchez had a little more control in their life. And I think that's why I kind of enjoy the character. I also like so I think how I label it is probably Washu first, Ryoko second, and Mihoshi third, because Mihoshi's always fun. Anyway, so there you go. Third question. If you were to bring Tenchi Muyo to live action, what studio would you choose? I would not choose a single fucking studio, because even though we're kind of living in an era where live action anime is kind of now on the uptick, there's still a lot of work to do. Like there is really a lot more work to be done with this series. So I would say that I wouldn't trust anyone, especially like not Sony, not Warner Brothers. Maybe if it was like a studio from Netflix, because we do have, even though I didn't I don't watch One Piece, but I've heard nothing but good things about the live action One Piece, and I really like Parasite the Grey. So maybe Netflix, just possibly. I don't know. I wouldn't pick any, honestly. I prefer it to be animated. But thank you for those questions, David. Moving on now to Tom Hibbert, who asks, do you consider the series to be more of a sci-fi anime or a fantasy anime? Because I think, yeah, it's more of a sci-fi anime. It's more of a sci-fi anime than anything else. Although it does have, like, magic and whatnot. I would call it a sci-fi adventure series. Or sci-fi romance would probably be the more apt description. I will say that this series definitely if I was to determine, it'd be sci-fi romance. There you go. Second question. What is your favorite moment from the show? I would say, like, my favorite moment from the show... that's a tough one. Favorite moment from the show... Because the problem is there's so many of the incarnations and universes of the show. That is a tough one. I think one of my favorite moments in the show, it's just a little moment where Washu is like, they're taking care of a baby. This is in the OVA. And they're basically taking care of one of Tenchi's cousins, like newborn cousins. And Washu, like, takes over being a mom. And the baby starts calling her mama, and she's like, "No, I'm not your mom. I'm not." And then she's like in tears because she's like, it's bringing up memories of losing her own baby. It's really sad. It's sad, but it's a very poignant moment for such a intelligent character, for such a great character. That's just one that strikes out to me. Second, oh, that was the second question. Sorry. Third question: how would you do a Tenchi Muyo video game? Tenchi Muyo video game. I think I would kind of have it in the vein of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, just so you could like pick characters. I know a lot of people would say like a light novel, and I know there have been video games where it's more of a romance light novel kind of storytelling for the video game. But I would personally say that I would pick. I would personally pick the route, the route of like an action adventure game. I think that's what I would do. So yeah, thank you for those questions, Tom Hibbert. Moving on now to Alistair Bondman, who asks, I'm not familiar with the series, but here it goes. First question. I believe the alien race, the cast mainly interact with a race called the Jerian Empire. If this empire was in Star Trek, how well do you think the Star Trek universe would get along with them? That really depends, because the Jerian Empire, they're superpowered and they're immortal. They're also really high on themselves. Like, they're also like really arrogant. They're really, they're very much like this race of like elitists. But they don't like, and they also have like kind of like look down on humans for the most part. But at the same time, I feel like they would have like something to gain from an alliance, or like, I don't think they would join the Federation. I would say that. I don't think they'd join the Federation, but I think like, since they already have like their own personal police, they literally have the Galaxy Police Force at their side, so they don't need protection. But if someone like the Borg or the Romulans came knocking on their door and the Galaxy Police Force wasn't cutting it, and the Jerian trees, which are what they really require, what they need in life to get their power and immortality and essentially their whole livelihood, I would say they'd probably contact the Federation and be like, hey, can you help? So there you go. Second question. Would you recommend this show to people not overly familiar with the anime, or alternatively, how weird is it to scale 1 to 10? I would say I would recommend it, probably the first 2 series, even though they're not in connection with each other. I would say, because the one that got me into the show was Tenchi Universe. So I'd say start with Tenchi Universe or the original OVA series. I think you can still find some episodes here on YouTube as well. So, yeah, I do think that that can be the case. Start with the original series and go from there. Anyway, third question: if you were to create your own villain for the show, how would they be, and what would they want? If I could make my own villain, I think because the Rogues Gallery in Tenchi Muyo is kind of like few and far between. I'd probably pick a villain and probably make a villain that is kind of like, well, since the Jerian Empire didn't really have the best track record with conquering planets and keeping them in line, I'd probably make like a whole cadre of villains that are like from conquered worlds of the Jerian Empire, and they're trying to like usurp the Jerians and free their planets, kind of like a rebellion in their own right. I wouldn't call them villains per se, but definitely like they'd kind of be like Saw Gerrera and his group, maybe something like that. So thank you for that question, Alistair. Moving on now to Jason Voorhees 2011, who asks, what other anime from the 90s would you have liked to have seen Tenchi Muyo get a crossover with? What other 90s anime could I see crossing over with this series? That is a tough one. Well, I'd probably say maybe, yeah, Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon comes to mind. Dragon Ball Z is always the one that comes up a lot, because Ryoko is basically on Dragon Ball Z level, so and Washu, like I said, is God when she wants to be. So Sailor Moon and DBZ, I know that's a basic answer, but those are kind of the ones I'm thinking like fit the best. I will say that there was another anime I was just thinking of, but it's escaped me. Like, it's literally like it has escaped my mind. But yeah. Those are the two that come to mind, honestly. Second question. Are there any characters from any other series you think is underutilized? Any characters from the show that is underutilized? And if so, how would you utilize them better? There are a few. I would say Ryo-Oki herself is just kind of used as the mascot, even though she's a fucking battleship. Yeah, a lot of people forget that she can turn herself into a living ship. I would probably utilize that better. I'd probably utilize the whole ship thing a lot better than the others. There's also, like, Mihoshi's whole family, and how, also, for those who don't know, and I don't think even Washu is aware of this in the continuity, is that Mihoshi is technically Washu's great-granddaughter. Yeah, the baby she gave up before she created Ryoko, what was the grandfather to Mihoshi. Yeah, so they're technically all related. So maybe play with that more. I know that's not the right question, but I feel like I could throw that in there. Probably the Galaxy Police Force more, as a whole. Like, there you go. Probably utilize the Galaxy Police Force even more. Probably put them to more of a use, because they were just used as either cannon fodder, explanation, or were just focused on Kione and Mihoshi. There you go. Third question. Which of the main characters would you like to see receive a solo spin-off of some kind? Washu. Like, I would love... Like, I know there was, like, Kione and Mihoshi, I think, got, like, a mini-series. I can't remember if they did or not, but there was a lot of talk of that. Sorry. Hydrating. I'd probably say... I would probably say that Washu we could do that. Ryoko, I would say Ryoko's I would love to see, like, her time as her space pirate days. That would be a great show to showcase. So maybe Ryoko during her space pirate days. There you go. I think it was questions. Jason, moving on now to Cyborg 19.99, who asks, Ryoko versus the Powerpuff Girls, who would win? Ryoko. Like, it's not, like, I know the Powerpuff Girls are pretty strong, and as a 3-on-1, they probably put up a fight, but Ryoko's winning that fight. She is on, like I said, she's literally, like, her power set is insane. Anyway. There you go. Second question. Who is smarter, Washu or Dr. Doom? Washu. Like I've been saying, Washu is, like, on god level. She is literally a goddess. She's known as the smartest being in the universe. And in some cases, she's the smartest being in the multiverse. Yeah. Dr. Doom's smart, but, like, Washu is, like, 150 times smarter. I don't, like, she literally could just create a time machine where it would take Doom, like, months to put it together meticulously. Washu can just do it in 5 minutes. Like, she could just put a time machine together in 5 minutes flat. I don't think people realize how smart she is. Third questions. What cartoons, anime, video games would you cross over with Tenchi Muyo? I'd say cartoons... well, I already did anime, so I'll skip that one. But video games, Mass Effect, like that was mentioned. I would also probably have... for cartoons... Steven Universe would be fun. I think Steven Universe and Tenchi Muyo would be a lot of fun. Yeah. Those are the ones I'd pick. Thank you for this question, Cyborg. Moving on now to Bill, who asks, what are your favorite aspects of Tenchi Muyo? I think that it is billed as a harem anime, and there are some, like, TNA moments, but it's not overt like most harem animes you see these days are. I think, like, it actually, like, gets to tell a story. It gets to have, like, this fun adventure with this, and Tenchi himself isn't, like, your typical, main romance guy. He's he's got his own wants and feels, and like I do love his whole story of like finding out that he's this long lost Jirayan prince, and he has this whole heritage that he has to live up to. And when push comes to shove, he will protect everyone around him. He's not like your typical main protagonist where he gets all the cool powers. He has to like train to get those powers. It's not like he's magically gifted with the power of like friendship and penis. He has to like work and train for all of that. So it's not your typical. It is a harem anime at its core, but it doesn't feel like an anime harem at its core. If that makes any sense. Second question: what characters from any media do you feel would be Washu's intellectual equal? No one. Literally no one. Like, the closest would probably be Q from Star Trek Next Generation, but that's really it. Q, it'd have to be other gods. Like, it can't be Rick. Like, she'd make fun of her, and also, she'd mock Rick and Reed. Oh god, she'd tear Rick and Reed Richards a new one. So I would say that I'd probably say, like, again, like Galactus, the Beyonder, the Living Tribunal, the Spectre. Like, again, it has to, like, a lot of those characters would be on par with intellectually with her. Like, she could carry a conversation with them at the bare minimum. I'd also throw in the Doctor as well. So think of those questions. Third question: how would you do a revamp of Tenchi Muyo? Oh god, probably less. That's such a long. That is such a long-winded question. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. I would probably say that I would leave out a lot of the harem stuff. I'd probably also retcon the whole Ayeka is Tenchi's aunt and she wants to bang him. I'd probably cut out the incest stuff. That's gonna go. That's the one of those things where it's like, yeah, this ain't. I guess. I guess. Tenchi Muyo. I mean, the Jirayan Empire is the Alabama of the galaxy. But yeah, I would cut that out. I think I'd make Kagato more of a threat, because one of the things, Kagato is such an interesting villain, but they don't utilize him a lot in the anime, so I'd probably make him a bigger threat to the galaxy at large. Yeah. So those few things right there I would do, Bill. Thank you for those questions. Regardless, and now we move on to Brittany Digger, who asks, is Ida Clawthorne based on Ryoko? What are your thoughts? I don't, you see, that's the thing. When Owl House was first getting promo images, I was thinking to myself, that cannot be a coincidence that Ida looks like Ryoko. And even, like, her voice actress, Wendy Malick, sounds a lot like Ryoko's English voice actress. This cannot be a coincidence. And I'm the creator of Owl House never really, I don't know if anyone asked her that question, but I want to ask her that question. It's like, did you base her off Ryoko? If I ever get the chance to meet the creator of the show, I was like, did you base the character off of Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo? Because she is a weeb. Like, the creator of the anime is a weeb. And I say that in the nicest... That's not an insult. I say that in the nicest way possible. It cannot be coincidence that the character design, how she's modeled and how the character acts, and also the voice being so close to the original English voice actress, this cannot be a mere coincidence, right? So yeah, I think yes. There's too many connections to make it to be not coincidental, right? Second question: do you think Tenchi Muyo has a lot of similarities with Usuri Atsura? I don't know what that anime is. I'm sorry, Brittany. I have no idea what that anime is, so I can't really say anything on it. So I'm sorry about that one. Third question: have you seen Tenchi Muyo spin-off War on Geminar? I have seen War on Geminar. I think it's fine. It's not. It's definitely one of my least favorite of the Tenchi Muyo shows, mostly because mostly because like I feel like it delves more in the harem aspect that I'd like with most anime, with most of the Tenchi series. I will say that the action sequences are pretty dope, and I do like a little bit the world building we have with the Tenchi Muyo universe at large. So I give it that. So I give it points on that. It's just I feel like also the Tenchi's cousin, I forget his name, the main protagonist. He's kind of he falls into the male harem protagonist role. And tropes a lot more than than Tenchi ever did. But it was cool when we went back and saw Tenchi and saw how Billy Badass had become. But yeah, so I think it's okay. Like it's not my forte. That I guess I could say. I think I rhymed there. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That's my Tenchi Muyo Q&A. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions for this Q&A. I thought I had one more, but it doesn't look like it. But yeah, I want to thank everyone who sent in questions. This was a lot of fun to do. And yeah, if you guys would like to be part of the next Q&A, just hit the link below, head on to my Patreon, hit the second tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.